Good morning, and thank you for joining us, and welcome to another edition of the Wealth Guardians radio program. Remember, we tell you what you need to hear, not what you necessarily want to hear. And JB again joins me in the studio today. JB, what's going on, man?
Hey, just living the dream, man.
Talking on
the radio with Doug Ray.
And we got Thanksgiving dead ahead.
Oh, it's great. I love this time of year.
Me too.
The turkey, the holidays, it's all coming together.
Did y'all have a big Thanksgiving at your house?
We do. We have been blessed with a big family, and it just keeps growing. So, yes, we try to get together every year. So it's really a joyous time of year for my family.
Us too, man. We bring them all in and have a big old Thanksgiving. And, you know, this year we got my brand new grandson's coming to be with us. Yeah, so I am pumped, man. I'm pumped.
Well, good.
Well, for those of you who don't know, my name's Doug Ray, and I'm the host of the program, the Wealth Guardians radio show, and I'm the president and founder of Ray Financial Group. And we're a professional independent firm working with pre-retirees and retirees in all areas of retirement and estate planning, including areas of wealth management, wealth preservation, asset protection, tax reduction, and wealth transfer and distribution. We are fiduciaries with a fiduciary duty, and we have offices in Charlotte and in the Triad in Clemmons, North Carolina. You can reach us at 336-391-3409. Or you can go on our website at www.thewealthguardians.com. Our objective for this radio show is to educate and inform all of the listeners of up-to-date, relevant, important information in the pre-retirement, retirement, and estate planning arena. So again, welcome to the show. And JB and I look forward to spending the next 30 minutes with you and giving you some solid financial information that hopefully will help you make a difference in your retirement planning.
And we would like to welcome everybody to the show. You know, Doug, there is no denying that retirement planning is a very sophisticated and complicated process. In fact, getting to and surviving retirement can be like navigating your way through a minefield at times. There are several retirement traps that you must avoid, and we will be discussing those traps in detail. So we're going to arm you up with some great information that you need in order to survive. So let's get started today with the show, Doug.
Yeah, you know, JB, as you said, it's no denying retirement planning is a sophisticated, complicated, and ongoing process. You simply have to keep up to date, educated on every changing tax law, rule changes, plan provisions, constant market fluctuations, and be able to make adjustments and changes to your plan on a regular basis. Now, you know, due to the complexities of retirement planning, everyone's going to make some mistakes. There's just no question about that. Small mistakes won't destroy a retirement plan, but there are some major traps that might. So today we're going to discuss some major retirement traps to avoid and give you the information you need to avoid these traps. So JB, what's the first one?
Okay, Doug, the first retirement trap to avoid is the absence of a retirement plan.
Yeah, as you can imagine, that's a no-brainer.
Sure.
It's obvious to many people just don't have a proper retirement plan in place at all. They haven't developed one, and it's way too late typically by the time they get to retirement. Without a properly designed, constantly updated plan, a successful retirement's almost impossible. And having a retirement plan is so important these days because retirement planning is a lot different than it used to be. You know, retirement planning today is more difficult because several reasons. Mainly because of the amount of options available today, technology advances and increasing complexities of retirement planning. In addition, people have a tough time seeing into the future, and that's why retirement planning is extremely beneficial. A good plan will show you how certain financial decisions you make today, tomorrow, or 5 years from now is going to affect your retirement 25 years down the road. Yeah, it's much like your car's GPS plots a course. It alerts you when action is needed and recalculates should you miss a direction. So too does a good retirement plan. And, of course, the earlier you get started saving, you'll have a better retirement for that. So let me just say this to all my listeners today. I want to offer you a free, no obligations retirement plan. If you've never had a written retirement income plan, please take me up on my offer. It's a 5-point master plan that includes tax-efficient retirement planning. It includes Social Security optimization. call us. The number is 336-391-3409. We will be happy to put this plan together for you.
Okay, Doug, the next retirement trap to avoid is not staying abreast of changes.
Yeah, because unfortunately a successful, rewarding retirement does not automatically happen with just a retirement plan. A retirement plan is not going to work if it's not constantly monitored and updated based on changes that occur each and every year. Let me ask you something. When's the last time you updated or made adjustments to your retirement plan? I bet many people it's been quite a while, if in fact you even have a plan at all. And for some reason, especially with some types of savings and retirement plans available today, with the buy and hold approach and funds like target date funds, many people have the mindset of just setting it aside and just leaving it and not looking at it. Unfortunately, a setting and leaving it approach is one of the worst possible things you can do. Again, just having a retirement plan won't give you a successful retirement. You have to make adjustments to a plan on a regular basis and keep it updated and accurate at all times.
Specifically, Doug, why is that?
Well, JB, two reasons. First, the retirement overall financial planning day, it's a lot different than it used to be. The financial economic world has seen a lot of changes over the last several years, and today's financial world is more complex than ever. Technology continues to advance, markets are global, and financial products continue to evolve. And to keep up, financial tools, designs, strategies, and concepts have to change as well, and they have done so over the last several years. So if you don't constantly update your retirement, then your retirement plan becomes dated very quickly. So secondly, in addition, changes occur every year. Every year we have a change to maybe tax laws. That's coming on the horizon. Interest rates have been at rock bottom lows for years. Changes in the economy, financial markets, and most importantly, you have to change your specific goals, your objectives, and your desires. So if you do not make adjustments to your retirement plan based on all these changes each and every year, then your retirement plan becomes outdated quite quickly. So today, education is so vitally important. In fact, it's key. You simply have to be up to date on all the latest tools available to keep your retirement plan up to date and accurate at all times. But it doesn't stop there. You've got to be aware. You have to understand how the latest tools, designs, strategies, and concepts work. So the trap of not staying abreast on changes can be a huge one and can be very detrimental to your retirement plan. Make sure you have an advisor who meets with you on a regular basis to make the necessary updates, revisions, and changes to your plan. Keep it accurate and in line with your retirement goals. I want to say this, JB. We in our little firm, we believe in education so much. We've done many educational workshops over the years, and now as we get towards the end of this year, we're starting to line up next year's workshops. And I'm really excited about what's coming for 2018 because we've got a ton of new workshops lined up for folks. And I would highly encourage our listeners to stay tuned for those workshops and sign up for them when they roll around.
Okay.
So what's up, buddy? What's next?
We got another retirement trap, and this one's very important. You want to avoid failing to plan for health-related expenses.
Is there anything out there more expensive than healthcare right now?
Not that I know of.
Yeah. It goes up. It seems like every single year. And it's now becoming almost, in some situations, impossible for people to afford those health insurance premiums. I mean, costs are just simply outrageous. And unfortunately, there's no sign of improvement. In fact, healthcare-related expenses is the number one cause of financial ruin in retirement. Simply put, this is a retirement trap you just got to avoid.
But, Doug, how does one avoid this? I mean, you cannot predict if and when you're going to need health care or even to what extent, to be honest with you.
No, you're right. And that's why you have to have a plan in place for health care. It's going to be expensive. There's just no question about it. But you have to be able to make sure a health care-related expense is not going to wipe you out and completely destroy your retirement plan. You need to make sure you have the right type of health care-related insurance and plans to cover the best ways based on your specific situation. I know there's a ton of plans available, and it's very hard to know which way to go, but that's what experts are for. Now, I'm not an expert by any means on healthcare. I got a license to sell it, but I hate it. So I use other people. I refer my clients to specialists in that area. Again, the key is to find someone who's an expert in this area and who can answer your questions and find the most effective plan based on your specific needs. Now, it doesn't stop with traditional health care. You have to plan for another health-related expense, and that's not covered by traditional health insurance plans, and that's long-term care. You know, the Department of Health and Human Service estimates that people age 65 and over, almost 70% will need some form of long-term care in the future. So that's a very good chance that you'll need some kind of care somewhere in your life. And long-term care can be extremely expensive. So the answer is take out some long-term care insurance. Well, some type of long-term care insurance plans can be very expensive. You know what, JB? This is such an important topic that I really hit hard in my my retirement planning when people come in to see me. And there's a lot of ways that long-term care can be covered. A lot of people don't like to even think about it because they have outdated ideas and so forth. But when we get back from the break, I want to cover this just a little bit more because it's so important.
Okay, it sounds like a good place to take a quick time out. Folks, remember, you are listening to the Wealth Guardians radio show, heard right here locally on 94.5 WPTI. We certainly appreciate you being with us today. You can reach Doug at 336-391-3409, or you can reach him at www.thewealthguardians.com. We're up against a quick break, but stay tuned. We're going to be coming right back and continue on this topic and discuss two very big traps to avoid. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Wealth Guardians radio show. I am JB along with Doug Ray. And before we get back into some our conversation, Doug, I know you wanted to follow up on the topic we were talking about right before we left there.
Yeah, long-term care. It is an incredibly important topic. I would venture to say this, JB, that probably every listener of this program right now has had an experience with a friend, a family member, somebody, an acquaintance that they know that's been in long-term care, home health care, and how it's affected both emotionally and financially the family that's involved. And I'd say this, you know, I meet with a lot of people every week and sitting down with new prospective retirees, and I ask every one of them, do you have long-term care insurance? And I'd say maybe 1 out of 10 have it. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, the old-fashioned long-term care insurance is expensive. Mm-hmm. And it's even, believe it or not, it's even harder to medically qualify for than just getting a life insurance policy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, there's a lot of carriers who have gone completely out of the business of long-term care because of the cost factors. Mm. But one of the things about long-term care insurance that people really have a problem with is paying those premiums, which continually increase over the years, and then they think in the back of their mind, well, gosh, if I go through life and I don't need this stuff, then I've just wasted all this money. And that is a question. Mm-hmm. It is a concern. But thanks due to the 2006 Pension Protection Act, we have now another way to treat this long-term care problem, and that's basically an asset-based long-term care policy. And an asset-based policy is different, much different from the old-style long-term care. It is a policy that you will use it one way or the other. You're either going to use it by growing the cash value in there and taking withdrawals and spending the money, or you may have a home health or long-term care situation and you can use it for that. Or if you go through life, you never touch it, don't need it, and you pass away, then there's a beneficiary that's going to get a tax-free death benefit. One of my favorite programs, I've talked about this a lot on this show, over the years. I like to call it a combination plan. It technically is a modified endowment contract, which is basically a single premium life insurance policy that you can use the death benefit during your life to pay for home health and long-term care needs tax-free. But during life, your cash value is going to grow. It's going to be based on the S&P 500. It can only go up. It can't go down. And we've been seeing double-digit returns in these policies. And what's the beauty of these things is as the cash value grows, so does your death benefit, and so does your long-term care and home health care benefits. So that is an extremely easy, painless way to cover a future potential possibility.
Some good information there. Hey, let's continue discussing some traps to avoid in retirement. And the next one up is ignoring tax issues in retirement. And one thing I've learned from listening to Doug Ray for years and years that I know is just because you retire, taxes don't go away, do they, Doug?
No, they really don't. In fact, in a lot of cases, believe it or not, they actually hit you harder because we have situations where maybe estate taxes, inheritance taxes, you have taxes on required minimum distributions, and then there's the old tax on the Social Security.
Oh, yeah.
So you still have income taxes, you still got capital gains taxes, possibly state taxes, and of course you've got to factor in all the reality that sometimes tax issues don't pan out the way you thought they might. So, for example, most people have the expectancy of being in a lower tax bracket when they retire, which is why the majority of people save money in a tax-deductible retirement plan. In fact, almost 30 years ago when I first got into this business, it was absolutely understood that you'd be in a lower tax bracket when you retired. So the idea here is to take the tax deduction on the amount you contribute to your IRA, your 401k, the 403bs, the SEP IRAs, on and on and on, while you're working and making some good money, and you're in a higher tax bracket. Then, once you do retire and start withdrawing those funds, you are hopefully expected to be in a lower tax bracket when you begin paying taxes on those retirement account funds. I mean, that is the plan. That's the idea, right?
Right.
But you would not be doing it this way if you thought you would be in the same or higher bracket at retirement time. I don't think anybody would do that. Mm-mm. Otherwise, you'd be contributing after-tax money into tax-free accounts like Roth IRAs or Roth 401ks, so that all of that money would be growing tax-free during your working years and be tax-free in retirement. Unfortunately, as I said before, sometimes the thinking here can be wrong.
Well, Doug, why is that?
Well, like we've discussed on previous shows, there's a lot of concern and fear out there that taxes are going to be much higher in the future. Even if this current administration gets some tax cuts, and I know that is highly in the news right now, mm-hmm. Our nation has continued to spend money like drunken sailors on a shore leave. And the borrowing at the current level of our national debt's probably with high interest rates in the future. Most people firmly think tax rates will have to go up in the future. Even if taxes are not increased substantially in the future, it's safe to assume taxes will probably not be any lower than they are today, again, for the long term. And if tax rates are higher in the future, that means all that money in your retirement plan is going to be taxed at a rate higher than you expected when you put money into those plans years ago. Thus, it may not work out exactly as you had originally thought. Being in a lower tax bracket is probably not something that's going to happen to you in the future. You know, JB, do you know what the highest tax rate this country's ever seen?
I'm scared to ask, but what was it?
Right after World War II, it went up to 94%.
Wow.
94%. And it was there for 5 years to help pay for the war. And then they brought it down to 70%. And the current highest tax bracket's 39.6%. So my point here is that if taxes have been as high as 94 and 70, there certainly is precedent for them to go higher than they are today.
Right.
So I really talk to my clients about trying to go from being forever taxed to never taxed, and that's using strategies like Roth conversions, cash value life insurance, and so forth. It just makes so much sense to consider taxes today as low as they are being on sale rather than where they could be in the future.
Right. All right, Doug, our next retirement trap is having the wrong investment approach.
Yeah, you can imagine that's a big trap, and having the wrong investment approach in today's volatile and economic arena can absolutely wreak havoc on a retirement plan, especially if you're not prepared for another market correction, because it is coming. I know it's been 9 years since we had the big '08 collapse, and a lot of you folks have forgotten about it, and it's kind of out of your mind. But trust me, there is another downturn coming. It's out there somewhere. We just don't know where.
Right.
You know, a lot of people lost a lot of money during that time frame, and this has been happening more often in recent history because of the increased volatility in the markets. And, you know, going back to 2008 and 9, the S&P 500 lost over half of its value in just less than a year. And that was shortly after the 2001 to 2003 incident, and that's the S&P lost half of its value there. But the NASDAQ lost almost 90% of its value. Remember the dot-com bust? Mm-hmm. The key is to have a proper risk management system in place and to protect against market drawdowns and have your money positioned properly for growth, but for protection at all times. The problem is that many people just don't have the proper system in place and are still trying to recover from 2008 downturn. Simply put, your retirement plan and nest egg cannot take those big hits when you're in pre-retirement and retirement years. During this time of your life, you've got to get away from the traditional asset allocation approach that you've probably used your entire life. You've got to get away from the buy and hold Wall Street mentality. You know, that is setting you up for disaster. That traditional asset allocation approach, buy and hold, or target date funds, they do not work when you're retired and we are in a market correction. Remember, every time you lose money in the market, you have to make a higher percentage of the loss just to get back to even. Losses count way more than your gains do. For example, if your portfolio loses 50% of its value, you have to earn 100% just to get back to even. You have to earn double just to get back. So if you want to ruin your retirement plan, simply take more losses and gains in your portfolio, and it's going to go down pretty quickly. Now, I'm sure most of you don't want to do this, so make sure you don't fall into that trap by employing the wrong investment approach. Make sure you're receiving the proper investment advice and have the right type of risk management system employed to grow and protect your money in today's volatile and ever-changing market. Remember, these markets are at all-time highs. It's not a question of if another big correction's coming. It is when. So, again, let me make an offer to you. My offer is for all my listeners to come in and let's sit down and do a retirement plan, a 5-point master plan that covers all these areas we spoke of today: long-term care, Social Security, putting an investment allocation in place that's going to guard you against the next major downturn. Because I'm telling you something, folks, if you retire and you take a 30, 40, 50% hit in your retirement asset portfolio, you're not going to recover from that. Most of you don't have pensions to rely on anymore in retirement. You have got to rely on those assets that you've built up for retirement. You've got to figure out how to turn those assets into a guaranteed protected income stream in retirement and make sure that you don't lose them. So let me wrap up today, JB, and wish everybody out there in our listening audience a wonderful, happy, healthy Thanksgiving week, and we will come back next week. And again, please take us up on our offer to come in and sit down after the holiday Thanksgiving break to do your retirement plan. Call us at 336-391-3409. That's 336-391-3409. And we will see you next week.